Here's what's on this episode of Formula World. As always, you can find timestamps for these stories in the description or as a pinned comment. First up on Formula World, grid girls returning. Sort of. Last year I made a video which featured the story of how F1's new owners removed grid girls from the race weekend, and it caused something of a stir in the community. Many people thought it was a matter of simply moving with the times, whereas a lot of people think that grid girls are a tradition that should be kept alive, as well as giving models an opportunity to work. Automobile Club de Monaco president Michel Boeri is part of the latter group and is doing his best to bring grid girls back. In fact, they'll be back this weekend in Monaco, but not as grid girls. Technically, they'll just have a presence on the grid and will provide photo opportunities with drivers, but won't be doing any of the official duties such as holding the driver number next to the grid spots. Michel Boeri is a big proponent of having women on the grid and had this to say about the whole situation. Our American friends have decided a woman holding a number plate is detrimental to the female image. Well, our hostesses come from schools for models and communication. Their appearance at the Grand Prix weekend is part of their training. They are paid for it at the same time. We demand flawless appearance. The girls will be there, absolutely, with no number plate, but as a representative of the race. They are beautiful and belong to the Formula One landscape. Would we be expected to prevent 30 young women completing their education and earning money? And the drivers agree, with Lewis Hamilton making some comments about grid girls when he was recently put on the spot about it that sounded almost Trump-esque. I think women are the most beautiful thing in the world. I think what women are achieving today is incredibly inspiring. I love and support women around the world. I think they are the smartest species and equality for them is a key for the future of the world. Me saying I think they are beautiful is just stating a fact. What I find incredibly attractive is a beautiful, intelligent and ambitious woman. Ferrari driver Sebastian Vettel agrees that he prefers to see grid girls back in F1, but believes the whole thing has been blown out of proportion. I think the whole thing has been blown up. Probably unnecessary because I don't think any of the grid girls in the past were forced to do it. I think all the women that took part as a grid girl in the past did it because they want to. I'm sure if you ask any grid girl on Sunday if they're happy to stand there, their answer will be yes. I don't think there's anybody that forces them to do it. So, it speaks a little bit for our times that sometimes there's a lot of noise for nothing. And rookie driver Charles Leclerc walked a fine line with his comments about them. I think it was quite positive to have some girls on the grid, to be honest. Even though I have a girlfriend, so I should not say that, maybe. I will get in trouble. And if the voice of the Grand Prix organisers, the fans and the drivers weren't enough, even the team owners share the same sentiment. Red Bull boss Christian Horner is happy to see the grid girls returning for the Monaco Grand Prix. To be honest with you, I think the girls make a welcome return this weekend. And Sauber boss Fred Vasseur echoed Horner's statements and even suggested it be up to each race whether or not they have them there. I'm not disappointed to have the grid girls back. I think that at the end of the day, it's up to the track also to decide if they want to put grid girls on the grid. I think it's a good move. And Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has remained slightly more diplomatic in his answer, but still approves of their presence. I think if you ask 5 people, you will have 8 opinions on grid girls. I think it was not discriminatory at all. It was part of the history of Formula One. Call for Tyre Simplification. This year saw Pirelli introduce 2 new tyre compounds, the Hypersoft and the Super Hard, bringing the number of dry compounds up to a grand total of 7, while at the same time making all the other compounds in their range softer. But this has led to many people poking fun at the long list of superlatives used to describe the tyres. One solution to the naming issue is to simplify the tyres by only having 3 names of tyre for each race, soft, medium and hard, regardless of which actual compounds are used. Head of Pirelli Motorsport Mario Isola had this to say about the suggestion. It is possible. We had a request from Formula One media and also the FIA to just call them hard, medium and soft with 3 colours. The same colours, same names for all the races. We produce a specific batch of tyres for each race to be sure that we all have the same tyres coming from the same batch of production. So honestly, to put a purple label or a yellow label or any other colour is not a big issue. Obviously, they would be different compounds because we cannot use the same compounds for Silverstone, Monaco and Suzuka. So the idea is to have 3 names and 3 colours. If Monaco was proposed now, you would be laughed at. Former Renault driver Jolyon Palmer has come out saying that if you were to propose the Monaco circuit as a new circuit today, that you would be laughed at. He went on to say that the level of skill required to navigate such a tight track is hard to fully appreciate. If you created this circuit elsewhere now and went to the FIA, F1's governing body, for approval, they'd just laugh at you. By F1 track standards, it's ridiculously narrow, with corners so tight you'd barely accept them in the paddock, let alone the race around them. Only when you watch the cars in real life around Monaco can you fully appreciate the skill level it takes to drive it, how narrow it is, how fast the cars fly through the streets, and how bonkers the whole race weekend is. Hartley surprised by rumours. The rumours of Brendan Hartley being on Toro Rosso's chopping block have been circulating for a couple of weeks now, but they come as a shock to the driver in question, who says he is performing well and is locked into a contract. I was surprised when I heard that. I have a contract. There are always people to criticise you, but as a driver, you're always your fiercest critic. The last couple of races haven't gone as we wanted, but I got my first point in Baku, and in the first 3 races of the year, I was ahead of my teammate twice in qualifying. There are always rumours, and as a driver, it's a good idea to not read too much. I'm a team player, and I work very hard behind the scenes. I know what I can do, and I think people sometimes have a very bad memory, so the situation changes quickly. It could be a whole different story next week. Being fast doesn't guarantee win. Kimi Raikkonen qualified on pole in Monaco last year and finished second to his teammate Sebastian Vettel, which at the time stirred controversy over team orders and favouritism. And despite his last win in Monaco coming back in 2005, Raikkonen believes being fast doesn't guarantee you a win. The whole weekend here in Monaco is a big challenge. This is such a tricky place that even if you were the fastest, it doesn't guarantee you a win. There are so many things that can happen, and you might not have time to react. All those things make it pretty difficult. This is a special weekend. You need to build up to it a little bit more than on a normal circuit. Fast feed. Red Bull boss Christian Horner thinks Hamilton contract delays is because of a grotesque amount of money. Max Verstappen says that despite the pace already shown in Monaco, that Red Bull haven't reached the limit yet. Grand Prix organisers at Hockenheim want a no-risk contract moving forward. Former F1 driver David Coulthard doesn't see any reason why Zandvoort shouldn't return to the F1 calendar. Aston Martin CEO Andy Palmer says their F1 engine project has gathered momentum. Formula World fans react, Red Bull ruining careers. In the previous episode of Formula World, I asked whether you thought Red Bull are ruining the careers of F1 drivers, and the results are in. A clear majority of you, of 62%, say that yes, you do believe that Red Bull ruins drivers' careers, while 38% say no. Should grid girls be brought back? Be sure to vote in the poll and let me know what you think about this or any of the other stories in the comments. And if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.